The American people have known for a long time that we need to limit money in politics. It's necessary to prevent corruption and to have a real government of the people. And we've been trying to do something about it for several decades. But there's been something standing in our way, and that's our very own Supreme Court, who has articulated this theory since at least the 1970s that equates money with speech. And because of that theory, the Supreme Court keeps shooting down different efforts and different laws that the people have passed to try to control the harmful influence of money on our politics. Now, the period that I'm really talking about, it goes to right after the Watergate scandal. So there was a huge public clamoring against the corruption that we saw in the Nixon White House. The Nixon White House had been creating a slush fund to receive secret donations from corporations to fund political operations. So because of that whole scandal, there was a real push by the people, and Congress actually did something to fight political corruption. They passed legislation in the 1970s to limit not only contributions to campaigns, but also how much a candidate can spend in a campaign. And they limited how much outside groups can spend through funding secret money organizations and groups to influence and distort our politics. Now, you then had this case in the 1970s also, Buckley versus Valeo, decided by the Supreme Court, where essentially they treat limitations on money in politics as a limitation on speech in politics, which is ridiculous because money is not speech, speech is speech. But regardless, the Supreme Court in Buckley overturned the limits on the amount that a candidate can spend in a particular campaign. And because of that theory articulated in Buckley, you then had other efforts like California in the 1970s. They tried to do the same thing. They tried to limit how much can be spent in campaigns, how much candidates can raise. They tried to ban lobbyists from donating to our politicians. And Buckley made it harder for that law to proceed in California. And it's an extreme legal theory that flows out of the Buckley versus Valeo case, because you then had Vermont in the early 2000s. It had a law where it had very tough contribution limits and very low contribution limits to candidates running for state office. And the Supreme Court overturned that because they said that, well, if you have too low of a contribution limit, that limits speech in some way. This whole body of law is ridiculous. We either need to get a new Supreme Court, or we need to pass a constitutional amendment, or find other creative ways to end this corrupting influence of money on our politics. And I'll leave you with a comment from the dissent in Buckley, from one of the justices. And what he wrote: "The act of giving money to political candidates may have illegal or undesirable consequences. It may be used to secure the express or tacit understanding that the giver will enjoy political favor if the candidate is elected. Both Congress and this court's cases have recognized this as a mortal danger against which effective preventative and curative steps must be taken." Couldn't say it better. The influence of money on politics, if we don't end it, if we don't end the legalized bribery of our representatives, that is a mortal danger to our ability to have a government of the people. And that is why I am doing my part in running for the Nevada State Assembly, to get money out of politics, to fight the corrupting influence of money in politics by passing the toughest campaign finance laws in the country, by banning corporations doing business in Nevada from donating to political parties or political candidates, and by doing whatever we can to challenge Buckley versus Valeo and this whole body of Supreme Court case law going all the way up to Citizens United that makes it harder for the people to retake control over our own government. So again, I'm Tony Smith. I'm running for Nevada Assembly, District 20, and I hope I can count on your support. Thank you.